Hey guys, welcome back to Medical Coding with Blue. Today is Q&A Tuesday. This is the #1 question and answer show about medical coding, airing on Tuesday. Every Tuesday, I take all the questions that I have gotten through viewer comments, from emails, and from Instagram, and I put it all into one episode. So here we go. Thank you to everybody who submitted their question. If you would like to have your question submitted for next week's Q&A Tuesday, I hope that you'll comment below or shoot me an email. So let's get started. All right, first question. Hey Blue, I have another question. My local adult school offers this program, but with no help of externships or internships. How likely is a company willing to hire a newbie freshly out of the program in need of getting that experience? So one of the things that I've always said is that it is difficult in the beginning to get a job in medical coding. That is the part that weeds out a lot of people, unfortunately. You have to be very persistent and you have to really apply yourself when you are trying to find your first job. A lot of people will tell you no. We all go through that rejection. I'm just saying. The thing is, you have to have a really good cover letter and you have to have a really good resume. You have to write it. Don't hire a professional resume writer to write your resume because #1, they will never know your skill set the way that you do. #2, you have to match the cadence of your resume and cover letter. If you go in there and your speech is not quite as clear, they're going to know that you paid somebody to write your resume. You need to make sure that you are writing your own resume. Use really good sentence structure and use good spelling. There's lots of word software programs out there that will help you with that. If that makes you nervous, you're going to have to get used to it because you will have to communicate written with providers. And if you're looking in these job postings, they will say that the candidate needs to be very well spoken and well written. A lot of them will say that because writing to providers is key, especially when you're doing queries. So get ready. I always recommend doing 5 different resumes because there are going to be different times when you're going to have to highlight different things about yourself. Pay attention to the job posting itself. Make sure that what you have in your resume, if you possess any of the skills that's in that job posting, that you put it into your resume. Because if not, your resume can be passed over. So make sure that you're doing a customized approach for every place that you're applying. I have heard from people who will blanket hundreds of places with the same resume and then wonder why they aren't getting a call back. You're not getting a call back because your resume looks boilerplate. It looks like everybody else's. So you want to make sure that it is custom, that they know that you're taking the time to do the detail stuff. That's what they're looking for. And I'm just telling you guys this not to make it more difficult for you, but to help you and give you a heads up because that's what employers are looking for. If I was an employer and I was hiring and I saw somebody with the same old run-of-the-mill resume and cover letter, next. Doesn't matter how much they need the job. What matters is what can you do for this company that you're applying for? And how can you show in your resume and cover letter that you are a viable candidate for this position? You have to apply everywhere, regardless of whether they have a requirement that they need experience or not. Because sometimes, in some areas, they're not able to get qualified candidates, so they will take a chance on somebody new. But you have to apply everywhere. That's my advice. Next question. I'm not testing well on the anatomy part after reading 3 functions. I feel like I'm not retaining what I read. Then I can't find the answers even though it's open book. What am I doing wrong? I'm taking plenty of notes, highlighting, etc. So to me, it sounds like the viewer is having a difficult time with the reading part. So maybe you should switch over to visual. Whenever you feel like you're not retaining something, whatever you're trying to learn, and you're just reading, then you need to switch over to either video or you need to switch over to pictures. I recommend getting the anatomy plates and just sort of putting them up around wherever you're working, studying. So that way you can see them and it'll get familiar as you're looking at it all the time. sometimes you have to change your approach, and you have to think of different ways and get creative when it comes to trying to learn these things, because it is a lot. But not everybody learns the same, which is why I tell you guys there's plenty of different options out there. There's flashcards, there is putting the anatomy plates up, there's watching YouTube videos on that. I recommend that you guys search through YouTube and see what YouTube has to offer. Please don't ask me what specific videos that I recommend, because there's the whole YouTube for you to pick from, and whatever ones that you like to watch. So that is my answer on that one. Next question. Thank you for clarifying. I am studying for my CPC, then CIC, and then I'm good to go. Do you know why everyone says that the CPC is better than the CCA? First of all, not everybody says that the CPC is better than the CCA. And the second of all, if you don't know, the CPC is a certified professional coder, and that is with the American Academy of Professional Coders. The CIC is a certified inpatient coder, also offered with AAPC. The CCA is a certified coding associate, and that is with the American Health Information Management Association. I will start off by saying this. Not everybody says that. Number 2, even though the viewer may not have meant to, please do not get into that habit of saying, well, asking the question of why does everybody say that this one is better than this one? Because people who say this credential is better than this credential have a self-serving reason why they're saying it. Perhaps the person didn't want that person to go to AHIMA, okay? And there may be people that say, well, people are not asking for the CCA. That is not true, because I have done the job listings explained videos, and a lot of people ask for the CCA. So let's just get that out of the way. The other thing is this. When you start comparing credentials, oh, this one's better than this one's better than this one, it's the caliber of the coder that makes the difference. It's not the credential, which is why I don't pay attention to people's credentials. I don't care if you're certified with AHIMA or AAPC. And some people do this very immature thing of comparing the two associations. You can't, because I've seen people with both associations who can code, and I've seen both who cannot code. I've seen people who have one credential who can run circles around people who have an alphabet. And I've seen the opposite, people who have an alphabet that can run circles around somebody who has only one credential but years of experience. So there's really no reason to sit there and start to compare the two. Compare this credential to that credential. Because somebody who says something like this is completely wrong. Now, don't get involved in that, because the thing is, people who say those things are self-serving, because you never know why. They may be trying to sell that particular program, and they don't want you to go to somebody else. That's why they say those things. If you take the time to look for these job postings, you'll see that they say either AHIMA or AAPC. They don't care. Sometimes they may say, well, AAPC is preferred, probably because whoever's in charge is an AAPC member. They know what AAPC members know. So that may be why, but there's really no telling how or why. So whatever you do, don't get involved in that. Don't get involved in comparing credentials and saying this one's better than this one. It's all about which one is more for what setting. That is what you should be looking at. And it should be on the caliber of the coder that you should be looking at. So don't judge somebody just because they have a CCA, or don't judge somebody just because they have a CPC. At least that's just my advice, because otherwise you're going to be wasting your time in this field. Because if you see somebody that has a CCS, right, Certified Coding Specialist, that is the gold standard of medical coding credentials, because that's one credential that says you can code both inpatient and outpatient. That's the reason that I say that. Not because I think that everybody who has a CCS knows everything. No, I say it's gold standard because you can code both inpatient and outpatient, and it's one credential that says that you can do that. This person has to take 2 certification exams in order to say that. That's more CEUs, or continuing education units, that you have to have in order to maintain those 2 credentials. So again, it just depends what setting are you in, because if somebody needs to have like a CIC because they're working in inpatient, then that's what they need. If somebody has a CCS, they can work in the inpatient side. So it's all about where these are. The only thing that I've talked about with medical coding is that I recommend that if you want to be a medical coder, that you go with AHIMA or AAPC. Anybody else other than those two, you're going to be wasting your time because no one else is looking for those other credentials. That's the only thing I've ever said. So keep that in mind. And if somebody tells you that one is better than the other, they're wrong. That's my answer on that one. Next question. I'm from India and I'm working as a registered nurse in Ireland. Is medical coding easy for nurses? No, it's not. I've trained many nurses and I've had nurses who understand it and I have had nurses who struggle with it. And there's a lot that have struggled. So no, it's not easy. Just because you're a nurse, it does not mean that you automatically understand the fundamentals of coding. It takes time to learn. Even doctors struggle to learn medical coding. There are some coders that are doctors, right? And so they want to make sure that they're getting all the credit that they deserve. So they actually go through a program. And that's why they do it. So when they do those things, they're wanting, like I said, to make sure that they're, getting all the credit that they deserve. But it doesn't mean that they still don't struggle to learn it. So that is my point there. But make sure that if you're a nurse, your background in anatomy, physiology, medical terminology is really going to help you. But it is the rules part of the coding that may trip you up. So take your time when you're learning it because code selection and understanding the coding is two different things. That's my thoughts on that one. Next question. I really wanted to do these, yet the prices is upwards of $2,000. I want to do this, but I don't have thousands of dollars in disposable income, especially during these times. Does anyone know how to mitigate the cost of this program? I have the video that talks about independent sequence study for medical billing and coding. So I will leave that link down in the description box below. You don't have to go through a formal program to sit for the CCA, the Certified Coding Associate, and that is with the American Health Information Management Association, or the CPC, the Certified Professional Coder, and that is with AAPC, the American Academy of Professional Coders. You don't have to go through a formal program. You can study on your own and then go and pay for your certification exams and take the certification exam. If you go with AHIMA, you do not have to be a member in order to pay to take their test. With AAPC, you do have to pay to be a member before you go and pay to take your test. So that is an additional cost. So whatever you decide to do, both of those, they're widely accepted everywhere. So that is what I recommend. Please continue to do your research. Like I said, I will leave that link down in the description box below. This is the template that I came up with that you can do the independent study. It takes a whole year if you're working through it. Some people it can be faster. Some people it'll take longer. It just depends. But I just designed it with the thought of this is the way that I remember doing the study. And these are the things that I knew that I had to study in the beginning. So that is, like I said, what I can offer. There's also lots of programs out there. I will leave the link for the WIOA program. And that is if you've been unemployed or perhaps you work in a low-paying job, there are programs out there to help you. So that is my advice on that one. Next question. Do future coders shadow during their studies of coding? I'm currently looking for an online program that is self-paced. Thanks for any advice. So the shadowing or like the internships, externships, that usually is reserved for the college students. When you are, and that's because it's like it's going to be a HIPAA violation if they just let you volunteer back there. You have to be an employee, okay? So that is typically why those don't happen. But it's different for every place. So if you're interested in volunteering, I mean, I would contact the patient administration department of any hospital you're trying to get into and see if they take volunteers. But don't be surprised if they don't, okay? Because they would have to do a background check on you to make sure that you don't have anything in your past, perhaps that is a conflict of interest as far as like you have a record for like identity theft or something like that, then obviously they wouldn't be able to let you back there. So, but that is my advice on that one. Next question. I passed my CPC and I'm having the hardest time finding work. Any other tips? I should definitely continue to do that. My resume has my CNA and phlebotomy experience. Should I keep that? So when it comes to being in different parts of the medical field, right? It depends on how you're wording it in your resume. Clearly, you want to go ahead and put all the transferable skills on there, your anatomy, physiology, and medical terminology, because clearly you had that being a CNA and a phlebotomist. So you want to make sure that you highlight those. But you don't want to make your resume look like you're trying to apply for a CNA position or a phlebotomist position. You want to make it look like you want to transfer your skills from being those positions to being a medical coder, and how that can benefit their facility because you're coming in with all of this knowledge. So that is something that you want to sort of highlight there. I do resume reviews. If you guys are interested, I will leave my rates in the description box below. But I go over your resume with you. I talk about the things that would be good for you to highlight, and probably talk about some of the other things that can kind of help you to jog your memory. Oh yeah, I can add that, I can add that. And like I said, I look over your resume. We talk about your cover letter as well, because that is part of the whole package, is, you know, the cover letter and the resume. And both are very, very important. So that is something that I do offer. But yes, in this situation, I would make sure that I would highlight the fact that I want to be a medical coder and I have all of these skills from my previous position as a phlebotomist and a CNA that will help this facility. I'm just saying. Next question. Where am I? Okay. Number 8. Okay, I've been intimidated by the biller part of the industry since I am weak with numbers and don't want to make a costly mistake. I have my CPCA, but I had to take a pause after getting certified, having a baby, then COVID, then the big move. Are they giving you training on the job to be a biller? Typically they do, because a lot of what you're doing is processing the paperwork. And as far as like the math part, it is not complicated math, guys. It is calculator math. It is formula math. It is not calculus. It is not Pythagorean theorem. It is literally straightforward plus minus. That in division, you know what I mean? That's what you're looking at. But again, a lot of it is they're going to train you, because when you are a biller, places are different and they're going to have different rules and different policies and things like that. Billing is a great place to start for medical coders. If you can't get in as a medical coder right away, billing is a great place to begin. But like I said, it is all basic math. So don't let the fear of math stop you from being a biller. Okay, just my advice. Next question. What is the difference between CPA or CCA? Between the two, which one is better than the other? Looking into getting a medical coding certificate, not sure to go through ASPIC or AHIMA. So another thing, guys, you have to know what credentials are you talking about and what associations are you talking about. Yes, I understand that it is a lot and there's so many. Trust me, I know. I did a video breaking down the two from both associations, but it's not ASPIC, it is AAPC, the American Academy of Professional Coders. AHIMA is, of course, the American Health Information Management Association. CPA is, I think the viewer actually meant the CPCA, which is a Certified Professional Coder Apprentice. The apprentice is put on to the CPC in the beginning when you first get your credential, because it says that you're brand new. They do have a time requirement in order for you to get that A removed, but there are other things that you can do as far as like going through Practicode, and that qualifies as 1 year of time off of that CPC, the A part, because it is, like I said, it's a 2-year requirement. That does not translate to 1 year of experience, just so you guys know, because sometimes people try to put that on their resume and it's not a good result when the employer asks, well, what was your production and your accuracy? And they can't answer because Practicode is not considered 1 year of experience. Okay. But again, knowing the difference between the two, okay, understanding what you're asking, and it's not a certificate, it's actually a certification. A certificate is when you complete a program. You can't do anything with a certificate of completion. You can only get somewhere in this field by having a certification. And again, I'm going to be leaving a video down in the description box below that talks about the different credentials, and hopefully that will answer some of your questions and maybe clarify things a little bit. But again, there is not one that is better than the other. With AHIMA and AAPC, that's what the employers are looking for. So again, don't try to compare, and there is not one better than the other. Next question. Hi, would you recommend also getting a CMAA, the Certified Medical Administrative Assistant, to help get one's foot in the door? No, because you do not have to be certified to be an administrative assistant. If you look in the job listings, most times they're not even asking for that. I think I've seen the CMAA maybe asked for one time, but I don't see that. And again, if you get these certifications, you have to have these continuing education units in order to keep up with them. All right. It's not just taking the test and then you have it forever. You still have to maintain them. I'm pretty sure that you have to maintain that one as well. So again, don't waste your money with things that you don't need, because having a lot of credentials that have nothing to help you propel forward is really sort of a waste of effort, right? Because again, you don't have to be certified to be an administrative assistant. You have to have like basic office skills. You have to know that. If you have experience, obviously that would be great. But that's not something that would help you to get your foot in the door faster. You can do that without having to do that. Okay. And next question. Madam, medical billing future or not? Many people say to no hope in billing. I'm disappointed because I take decision failed. I think what they're trying to say is that a lot of people are telling this person that there's no future in medical billing, which that doesn't even make sense, because how would you bill? You need billers, just like you need coders. And they've been saying, oh, that this is going away for over 10 years. They've been threatening this whole time. That, oh yeah, there's going to be a whole new automated system to come in and take over. There won't be. Guys, think about this. That would require a system to be able to read the provider's mind. And since providers use different words and every person is individual and unique, same thing with every provider being unique, there's just no way. I can't see it. And again, I've heard this for over 10 years. They were saying this when I first started. So don't believe everything you hear, and take the time to do your research too, guys. Look at the Department of Labor, and it'll tell you about the growth of this field, so of health information management. So take a look at that. Don't take people's words for it, because a lot of times people may be telling you things either because they don't know, or they're trying to discourage you, or they have some other alternative motive, right? Ulterior motive, alternative. Ulterior motive. So think about that. Don't just believe everything that you hear. All right. And don't let it stop you if this is what you want to do. So, and then I need to know where to start, how to start. What should I know? I'm so confused with so many certification. Which one is good for me? What is the first step? The first program I do in school? So I take the questions just how they're written. So that's why I'm like having to think about how to say this. When it comes to how do you get started in medical billing and coding, I have videos about that, guys. You can actually look with the little spyglass and say how to get started in medical billing and coding. There's videos that pop right up. So be sure to take the time to look, because I've already done so many videos about those, and they're very detailed, and they're going to give you lots of really good information. So that's where I would start. All of my contact information, if you need to contact me, is in the description box below, guys. Please look at that description box. I've gotten lots of questions from people where the question could be answered by looking in the description box. So I'm going to wrap this one up. Thank you guys for joining me. I hope this was helpful for you. If it was, I hope that you will share it, like, and subscribe. All right, so if you are a medical coder, a medical coding student, somebody curious about the fascinating world of medical coding, a provider or a nurse, I invite you to like and subscribe and follow me on my journey in medical coding. I will see y'all next time. Bye.